The Season Pass for any WWE game is a core part of the game's experience, as it aims to expand the lifespan of the game a few months further past its initial release. Originally branded as Fan Access and introduced into the franchise with SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, the Season Pass hasn't really evolved that much over the years. What used to be a core part of most video game franchises, Season Passes have now moved on to being something you usually only see with campaign type of games, with games that have a more live service or sandbox feeling to them, opting for things like Battle Passes and more frequent content updates. Now, I'm not saying that WWE 2K23 needs to introduce a Battle Pass system into its game because quite frankly, I don't think that would work either. But when you really take a step back and break down what the current Season Pass is offering its players, is it really a great value for money? For example, if you look back at WWE 12, whose Season Pass was branded as Fan Access, there you got a grand total of 15 new superstars for your game for just $12. If you compare that to the most recent WWE 2K23, this game's Season Pass gave you 27 superstars for a whopping $40. So in the last 10 years, the price of our WWE Game Season Pass has more than tripled in price, for which you're not even getting double the amount of content you were getting back then. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this really puts the value of the Season Pass into perspective for me. What helps put things into perspective even further is when I look at other game Season Passes and see how much more value those players are getting compared to this franchise. So, what can be done about this? What can 2K do to make the WWE 2K23 Season Pass actually hit different and deliver a package that players find worth the value? Well, to start off, I would begin thinking about ideas that can cater to the variety of players that play WWE games. In our community, you have people who love Universe Mode, you have people who love My GM Mode, you have people who love Core Mode, you have people who love Online, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of range in our community, but if you look at what the current Season Pass is bringing to the table, only a few subsections of the community are actually getting catered to. Right now, the only thing the Season Pass does is offer players a handful of fairly niche superstars and some bonuses for the least popular mode in the game, My Faction. If the superstars they are selling are of no interest to you and you don't play My Faction, then how on earth are you expected to use this DLC to help further your experience? Universe Mode players may have a new character to use, but how else will their experience evolve with each new DLC? Same with My GM, Online, etc. So, if we're going to try and cater to all of these players at once, what does the Season Pass need to do? It needs to offer range, and the funny thing is, if we look back at some previous WWE Game Season Passes, they've actually done this before. The first example I want to share with you is the Season Pass for WWE 2K15. For the price of $25, you not only got access to 3 2K Showcase Mode DLCs, but you were also given immediate access to a new playable superstar, that being Paige, as well as the Accelerator, which allows you to unlock all of the game's unlockables straight away. Each of those 3 DLC packs then came with a brand new story to play out in Showcase Mode, a bunch of new superstars to unlock, as well as a handful of new arenas to play with. Quite good value for $25 if you ask me. The other example I wanted to share with you was the Season Pass for WWE 2K20, which was branded as the Backstage Pass. For the price of $30, you were given access to Originals Packs 2, 3 and 4, with Pack 1 being a pre-order bonus for the game. Each of these packs came with new fantasy variants for many of the in-game superstars, a new 2K Showcase episode, new story 2K towers, new arenas unlike anything they've ever done before, new backstage brawl areas, new weapons, new moves and entrances, creation suite parts and attire parts, and even more than that. Now, due to all of the different fantasy elements that were at play for this game's DLC, it wasn't everyone's cup of tea. But even if you weren't a fan of the specific content that was being offered here, you can't deny the level of range that is on display. I think these 2 Season Passes, the one for WWE 2K15 and 2K20, should be the example that 2K uses and takes forward into the future when planning out what is going to be included in their post-launch DLC offerings. It seems that, to me, when they turn their focus to something that is story-driven, like their Showcase Mode, then variety seems to naturally come out of that. When you're working on showcasing a handful of matches for a certain superstar's career, All of a sudden, not only do you have that as content to ship, but you also have all of the new superstars you made for that story, all of the new arenas, new moves, new core parts, and so on. So even if that 2K showcase mode isn't something that you're interested in, at least you're going to benefit from the rest of the content that trickles down from that. Just a quick note on the core parts. I really wish they would make it a priority to add all of the new DLC parts into the creation suite. Some games do a pretty good job of it, like WWE 2K20, but then other games it's hit and miss. In 2K22, for example, out of the 27 characters we got as DLC, only a few of them had attire pieces put into core mode. So I hope in 2K23 we can stop praying for a certain piece to end up in core mode and just have the expectation that everything is going to be in there. Now, on top of all of this, there's something else that I think 2K needs to bring into their DLC offerings, and that is an experience so eye-catching and game-changing that players have no choice but to put any other game they're playing down and come over and play this. Let's face it, right now, they don't offer that. Even if you get the season pass at launch and have all of that DLC to look forward to, there's nothing about the current offering that makes you get on the day that DLC comes out. You can easily leave that until the weekend and not have any fear of missing out. But if 2K were to add an experience to the game that demanded players' attention, it would not only be a great time for us, but it would also likely do great things for the game. I'm talking about something big, like the inclusion of a brand new match type or the return of something iconic and fan favourite like the 12-person online Royal Rumble match. And I know what some of you are going to say. They would never release something like that in the middle of the game's lifespan because that's the type of thing that they use to push the sales of brand new games. But to that, I say this. Imagine a world where we not only had an awesome, groundbreaking, new experience when the game releases, like just say for talking sake, the Fight Pit match, but then we also had another awesome, groundbreaking new experience come 4 to 6 months after the game's release, like let's just say, the War Games match. Then, you not only have something that demands that people buy the game as soon as it's released, but you also have something that demands players return to the game 4 to 6 months later, which would likely come with a spike in sales of the game and DLC. Look, I get it. Something like War Games would do great things to help push the sales of a new game at launch. But I think if a big War Games expansion pack came halfway through the lifespan of the game, you'd still attract all of the people who'd buy your game just for that. 2K will make extra money from this match type being a new, mid-game DLC rather than it being included at launch, and then us as the player base will feel like our WWE Games experience is more alive and fruitful, as not only is the game launching with great new experiences, but we also know to expect a great new experience sometime in the middle of the year as well. Now that's a world that I would like to live in. But of course, those are just my opinions on the topic, and as usual, I would love to hear yours, so make sure to sound off in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe for more WWE 2K23 content. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you like this one, you may enjoy one of these videos as well.